Have you ever felt different from everyone else? Like you can sense things others can't? Well, you might be more special than you think. Did you know that only 1% of people have an amazing gift called being a seer? That's right, just 1 in 100 people. And the crazy thing is, many of these people don't even know they have this power. But here's the exciting part. Your body might be trying to tell you that you're one of these rare individuals. It's like having a superpower, but instead of flying or becoming invisible, you can see and feel things that most people can't. Imagine walking down the street and suddenly knowing something big is about to happen, or looking at someone and understanding exactly how they feel without them saying a word. That's what it's like to be a seer. And the best part? Your own body is giving you clues about this amazing ability. Now, you might be thinking, so what if I'm a seer? Why does it matter? Well, let me tell you, it matters a whole lot. If you don't know you're a seer, you could be missing out on some incredible experiences. It's like having a shiny new bike hidden in your garage, but never riding it because you don't know it's there. Your seer abilities could help you make better decisions, understand people better, and even avoid dangerous situations. But if you don't know about them, you can't use them. It's not just about missing out on the good stuff, though. Not knowing you're a seer can actually make life harder. Imagine having a special radio that picks up stations no one else can hear, but you don't know how to control it. It might be overwhelming or confusing, right? That's what it can be like for seers who don't understand their gift. They might feel overwhelmed by emotions that aren't theirs, or get headaches from picking up on too much energy. But once you know you're a seer, you can learn to manage these experiences and use them in amazing ways. So, what exactly is a seer? Well, it's not about having crystal balls or predicting lottery numbers. A seer is someone who can perceive things beyond what we normally see, hear, or feel. It's like having an extra sense that lets you tune into the world in a special way. Seers can often feel the emotions of others, sense when something important is about to happen, or even catch glimpses of past or future events. It's a bit like having a TV in your mind that sometimes shows you things others can't see. Now, I know this might sound a bit out there, but stick with me. Throughout history, many cultures have recognized and valued seers. They've been called prophets, oracles, psychics, or intuitive. But you don't have to be a mystic living on a mountaintop to be a seer. Regular people like you and me can have this gift too. And the really cool thing is, your body might be giving you signs right now that you're one of these special people. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 unique body signs that could mean you're a seer. As we go through them, you might start to recognize some of these signs in yourself. Maybe you've had experiences you couldn't explain, or feelings that seem to come out of nowhere. Well, get ready, because we're about to shed some light on those mysteries. Let's dive into the first sign that your body might be telling you you're a seer. Have you ever felt a sudden tingling or buzzing sensation, especially in your hands, feet, or the top of your head? It's not like when your foot falls asleep. This is different. It's more like a gentle electric current running through your body. Some people describe it as a warm, fuzzy feeling, while others say it's like champagne bubbles under their skin. If you've experienced this, pay attention. This tingling sensation is often one of the first signs that you're tuning into your seer abilities. But what does this tingling actually mean? Well, many people believe it's a sign that your body is picking up on energy around you. Just like a radio antenna can pick up radio waves, your body might be picking up on subtle energies that most people can't sense. This energy could be coming from people, places, or even events that are about to happen. It's like your body is saying, hey, something important is going on here. Now, you might be thinking, but I feel tingles sometimes when I'm just sitting at home watching TV. Does that mean I'm picking up on something? The answer is, possibly. Even when you're relaxing, your seer abilities might be working. You could be sensing the emotions of a character in the show, or picking up on energy from a family member in another room. The key is to start paying attention to when and where you feel these sensations. Here's a simple example to help you understand. Let's say you're walking down the street and you suddenly feel a tingling in your hands. A few moments later, you bump into an old friend you haven't seen in years. That tingling might have been your seer abilities giving you a heads up that something unexpected was about to happen. Cool, right? But don't worry if you haven't felt this exact sensation. Everyone experiences their abilities differently. For some people, it might not be a tingling at all. It could be a warm sensation, a slight pressure, or even just a sudden awareness of a particular part of their body. The important thing is to start noticing any unusual physical sensations you have, especially if they happen right before something significant occurs. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if I'm just imagining it? What if it's all in my head? That's a totally normal thought to have. We're taught to be skeptical of things we can't explain. But here's the thing, even if you're not sure, it doesn't hurt to pay attention to these feelings. Over time, you might start to notice patterns. Maybe you always get that tingling feeling before you receive good news, or perhaps it happens when you're about to meet someone new. The more you notice these patterns, the more you'll start to trust your experiences. So, how can you start working with this first sign? It's simple. Just start paying attention. When you feel that tingling or any unusual sensation, take a moment to pause and tune in. Ask yourself, what's happening around me right now? How am I feeling? Is there anything unusual or significant about this moment? You might be surprised at what you discover. Remember, being a seer isn't about having dramatic visions or making bold predictions. It's often about these subtle experiences that we might usually brush off or ignore. By paying attention to these gentle nudges from your body, you're taking the first step in recognizing and developing your unique gifts. Now, let's move on to the second sign that you might be a seer. This one's a bit trickier because it's all about emotions. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt happy, sad, or angry for no apparent reason? Or maybe you've been having a great day, but then you meet a friend and suddenly feel down. If this sounds familiar, you might be experiencing the second sign of being a seer, feeling other people's emotions as if they were your own. This ability is often called empathy, but for seers, it goes beyond just understanding how others feel. It's more like you're actually experiencing their emotions yourself. It's as if you have an emotional sponge inside you, soaking up the feelings of everyone around you. This can be both a blessing and a challenge. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're at the grocery store, feeling pretty good about your day. As you're picking out some apples, you suddenly feel a wave of sadness wash over you. You might even feel like crying, but you have no idea why. Then, you notice the person next to you looking at their phone with tears in their eyes. What's happening here? Your seer abilities might be picking up on their emotions and making you feel them too. This ability can be really helpful in many situations. It can make you a great friend because you truly understand what others are going through. It can also help you in work or school, as you can sense the mood of a room and adjust your behavior accordingly. Imagine being able to tell when your boss is in a bad mood before you even see them, or knowing exactly when your friend needs a hug without them saying a word. But I know what you're thinking. This sounds exhausting, right? And you're not wrong. Feeling everyone's emotions all the time can be overwhelming. You might find yourself getting tired easily in crowded places, or feeling drained after spending time with certain people. This is totally normal for seers, and it's one of the reasons why it's so important to recognize this ability. Once you know you have it, you can start learning how to manage it. So, how can you tell if you're really feeling someone else's emotions, or if you're just being moody? Here are a few things to look out for. Sudden mood changes. If your emotions seem to change quickly and dramatically, especially when you're around other people, this could be a sign. Feeling emotions that don't make sense. If you feel sad when nothing sad has happened to you, or angry when you have no reason to be, you might be picking up on someone else's feelings. Physical reactions to others' emotions. Sometimes, you might even feel physical symptoms related to others' emotions. For example, you might get a headache when someone around you is stressed. Being called too sensitive. If people often tell you that you're overly sensitive or that you take things too personally, it might be because you're picking up on emotional undercurrents that others can't sense. Now, if you're recognizing this sign in yourself, don't panic. It's actually a really special ability. Think about how much deeper your relationships could be if you can truly understand how others feel. Or how much better you could handle conflicts if you can sense the emotions behind people's words. The key is learning to manage this ability so it doesn't overwhelm you. Here's a simple tip to start with. When you notice yourself feeling strong emotions that don't seem to be your own, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this feeling mine? Just this simple act of questioning can help you start to separate your emotions from those you're picking up from others. Over time, you'll get better at recognizing which feelings are yours and which aren't. Remember, being able to sense others' emotions doesn't mean you have to take them on as your own. It's okay to acknowledge what others are feeling without letting it affect your own mood. Think of it like watching a movie. You can understand and empathize with the character's emotions without actually becoming sad or angry yourself. As you become more aware of this ability, you might start to notice patterns. Maybe you always feel anxious around certain people, or perhaps you feel energized after talking to a particular friend. Pay attention to these patterns. They can teach you a lot about yourself and the people around you. Now, let's talk about the third sign that you might be a seer. This one's really fascinating because it's all about a part of your body that you can't see, but you can definitely feel. Have you ever felt a strange pressure or tingling sensation in the middle of your forehead, just above your eyebrows? If you have, you might be experiencing what many people call the third eye sensation. In many spiritual traditions, the third eye is considered to be a special energy center located in the forehead. It's associated with intuition, insight, and the ability to see beyond the physical world. Now, I know that might sound a bit out there, but stay with me. Even if you're not into spiritual stuff, this sensation is a real experience that many seers report. So, what does this third eye sensation feel like? Well, it's different for everyone, but here are some common experiences. Pressure. Some people describe it as feeling like someone is gently pressing their thumb against the center of their forehead. Tingling. Others report a buzzing or tingling sensation in this area, kind of like the feeling you get when your foot falls asleep, but much gentler. Warmth. Sometimes people feel a warm spot on their forehead, as if a small heating pad is placed there. Pulsing. In some cases, people feel a rhythmic pulsing, almost like a heartbeat in their forehead. Now, you might be wondering, what does this sensation mean? Well, for many seers, this third eye sensation is a sign that their intuitive abilities are active. It's like your body's way of telling you, hey, pay attention. You're tuning into something important. Let me give you an example to help you understand. Let's say you're trying to make a big decision, like whether to take a new job or not. As you're thinking about it, you might feel that pressure or tingling in your forehead. This could be a sign that your intuition is kicking in, trying to guide you towards the right choice. It's like your inner wisdom is saying, listen up, I've got something to tell you. But here's the thing. This sensation doesn't always come when you're actively trying to use your intuition. Sometimes, it might pop up when you least expect it. You could be walking down the street, watching TV, or even just daydreaming when suddenly, you feel that forehead sensation. When this happens, it's a good idea to pay attention to what you're thinking or what's happening around you. You might be picking up on something important that you hadn't consciously noticed. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I've never felt anything in my forehead. Does that mean I'm not a seer? Not at all. Remember, everyone experiences their abilities differently. Some people might feel this sensation strongly, while others might not feel it at all. And that's okay. There are plenty of other signs that you might be a seer, so don't worry if this particular one doesn't resonate with you. For those of you who do experience this sensation, you might be wondering how to work with it. Here are a few simple tips. Pay attention. When you feel that sensation in your forehead, take a moment to pause and tune in. What are you thinking about? What's happening around you? There might be an important insight or piece of information trying to come through. Trust your gut. If you feel the third eye sensation when you're making a decision, it might be a sign to trust your intuition. Of course, you should still use your logical mind too, but don't ignore those gut feelings. Practice meditation. Many people find that meditation can help strengthen their third eye awareness. Even just a few minutes of quiet reflection each day can make a difference. Keep a journal. Try writing down when you experienced this sensation and what was happening at the time. Over time, you might start to see patterns or connections. Remember, experiencing this third eye sensation doesn't mean you're going to suddenly have dramatic psychic visions or anything like that. It's usually much more subtle. It might help you make better decisions, understand situations more clearly, or pick up on things that others miss. It's like having a little extra help in navigating life's challenges. As you become more aware of this sensation, you might find that it becomes stronger or more frequent. This is normal and nothing to be afraid of. It's just a sign that you're becoming more attuned to your intuitive abilities. However, if the sensation ever becomes uncomfortable or distracting, it's okay to take a break. You can simply say to yourself, "I need a little space right now," and imagine closing your third eye, just like you'd close your physical eyes when you need a rest. One important thing to remember is that while this third eye sensation can be a powerful tool, it shouldn't replace common sense or logical thinking. Think of it as an additional source of information, not the only source. For example, if you're making a big decision, it's still important to gather facts, consider pros and cons, and think things through carefully. Your intuition, signaled by that forehead sensation, can then help guide you in integrating all that information. Also, don't worry if you can't always interpret what the sensation means right away. Sometimes, the meaning might become clear later. You might feel that forehead tingling while talking to a new friend, and only realize days later that this person became really important in your life. The more you pay attention to these sensations, the better you'll get at understanding what they mean for you. Lastly, remember that being a seer isn't about being perfect or always knowing what's going to happen. It's about being open to guidance from your intuition and the world around you. This third eye sensation is just one way that guidance might come through. So, if you've been feeling that strange sensation in your forehead, don't brush it off. It could be a sign that you have a special gift waiting to be explored. And even if you haven't felt it, keep an open mind. Your seer abilities might be showing up in other ways that we haven't talked about yet. The journey of discovering and developing these abilities is a personal one, and it can be incredibly rewarding. So stay curious, stay open, and most importantly, trust yourself. Your body and your intuition have a lot to tell you if you're willing to listen. Let's move on to the fourth sign that you might be a seer, and this one's pretty exciting. Have you ever heard a voice in your head that didn't quite feel like your own thoughts? Or maybe you've had a song stuck in your head, only to turn on the radio and hear that exact song playing. If so, you might be experiencing clairaudience, which is a fancy word for clear hearing. This is one of the most common signs of being a seer, but it's often misunderstood. Now, when I say hearing voices, I don't mean in a scary way like you see in movies. It's usually much more subtle than that. For most seers, clairaudience is like having an inner radio that sometimes picks up on information or messages that aren't coming from their own thoughts. These messages can come in many forms. Inner voice. Sometimes it might sound like a clear voice in your head, different from your usual inner monologue. This voice might offer advice, warnings, or insights. Snippets of conversation. You might overhear bits of conversation that aren't actually happening around you. These could be related to something in your life or someone you know. Music. As I mentioned earlier, you might hear a song in your head that turns out to be significant. Maybe it has lyrics that relate to a situation you're dealing with, or it reminds you of someone you need to contact. Nature sounds. Some seers report hearing sounds like running water, bird songs, or wind when there's no obvious source for these sounds. Let me give you an example of how this might work in everyday life. Imagine you're trying to decide whether to apply for a new job. As you're thinking about it, you suddenly hear a clear voice in your mind saying, "Go for it." This might be your clairaudient ability picking up on guidance from your higher self or the universe. Or here's another scenario. You're walking down the street and you suddenly hear the name Sarah in your mind. Later that day, you run into an old friend named Sarah who you haven't seen in years. Your clairaudient abilities might have been giving you a heads up about this unexpected meeting. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Am I just imagining these things? What if I'm making it all up? That's a totally normal concern to have. The truth is, at first, it can be hard to tell the difference between your own thoughts and clairaudient messages. But there are a few key differences. Suddenness. Clairaudient messages often pop into your mind suddenly, without any lead up in your thoughts. Clarity. These messages are usually very clear and specific, unlike the often jumbled nature of our own thoughts. Repetition. Sometimes, you might hear the same message repeatedly as if it's trying to get your attention. Feeling. Often, these messages come with a feeling of importance or urgency. You might just know that you need to pay attention to what you're hearing. If you think you might be experiencing clairaudience, don't worry. It's actually a really cool ability to have. Think about how helpful it could be to have access to guidance and information beyond what your five senses can pick up. The key is learning to trust and interpret these messages. Here are a few tips for working with your clairaudient abilities. Pay attention. When you hear something that doesn't seem like your own thoughts, take note of it. You might want to write it down or record it on your phone. Ask for clarity. If you're not sure what a message means, it's okay to ask for more information. You can do this silently in your mind. Trust your gut. If a message feels important or rings true to you, trust that feeling. Your intuition is a powerful tool. Practice meditation. Quiet contemplation can help you become more attuned to your inner voice and distinguish it from your regular thoughts. Look for patterns. Over time, you might notice that you receive certain types of messages in certain situations. This can help you understand and trust your abilities more. Remember, developing your clairaudient abilities is a process. It takes time and practice to really understand and trust what you're hearing. But with patience and an open mind, you might find that you have access to a whole new level of insight and guidance in your life. Now, let's dive into the fifth sign that you might be a seer, and this one's a real game changer. Have you ever just known something without knowing how you knew it? Like when you have a strong feeling about a person you've just met, or when you suddenly know the answer to a problem you've been struggling with. This is what we call claircognizance, or clear knowing. Claircognizance is like having a direct line to a vast database of knowledge. It's not about seeing visions or hearing voices. Instead, information just appears in your mind, fully formed, as if you've always known it. It's a bit like those aha moments you get in the shower, but more frequent and often about things you shouldn't logically know. Here are some ways claircognizance might show up in your life. Instant understanding. You might suddenly understand a complex concept without having studied it. Knowing about people. You might meet someone and immediately know important things about them, like their profession or if they're trustworthy. Problem solving. Solutions to problems might pop into your head out of nowhere. Future insights. You might have a strong feeling about future events, like knowing a friend is about to call before they do. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you're at a job interview. As you're talking to the interviewer, you suddenly know that this isn't the right job for you, even though on paper it looks perfect. You can't explain why, but you just know. This could be your claircognizant abilities at work, picking up on information that your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. Or here's another scenario. You're helping a friend with a tough decision. As they're explaining their dilemma, you suddenly know exactly what they should do. The answer just appears in your mind, fully formed. This could be your claircognizance tapping into information or wisdom beyond your normal knowledge. Now, you might be thinking, but how do I know if this is really claircognizance and not just good guessing? That's a great question. Here are a few ways to tell. Certainty. Claircognizant knowledge often comes with a strong sense of certainty. You don't just think something might be true, you know it is. Lack of reasoning. You can't explain how you know something, you just do. It's not based on logical deduction or prior knowledge. Accuracy. Over time, you might notice that these knowings turn out to be accurate more often than not. Suddenness. Like other psychic abilities, claircognizant information often comes suddenly, without any lead-up in your thoughts. If you think you might have claircognizant abilities, that's really exciting. This can be an incredibly useful skill in all areas of life. Imagine being able to make decisions more confidently, understand people more easily, or solve problems more quickly. But like any ability, it takes practice to use it effectively. Here are some tips for developing your claircognizance. Trust your first impressions. Often, that initial gut feeling is your claircognizance at work. Try not to second-guess it. Keep a journal. Write down your knowings and check back later to see if they were accurate. This can help build your confidence in your ability. Practice quiet contemplation. Claircognizance often works best when your mind is quiet. Try spending some time each day in silence, just letting thoughts come and go. Ask questions. When you need to know something, try asking the question in your mind and then waiting for the answer to pop in. You might be surprised at what comes up. Pay attention to your body. Sometimes, claircognizant information comes with physical sensations, like a tingle in your scalp or a feeling in your gut. Learn to recognize these cues. Remember, having claircognizant abilities doesn't mean you'll always have all the answers or that you should ignore logic and reason. It's just another tool in your toolkit, another way of gathering information about the world around you. The key is learning to balance your intuitive knowings with practical, logical thinking. As you become more aware of your claircognizant abilities, you might find that they become stronger and more reliable. You might start to trust your intuition more in daily life, leading to better decision-making and a deeper understanding of the world around you. But remember, this is a journey. It takes time to fully understand and trust these abilities. Be patient with yourself and stay open to the possibilities. So, you've read through the signs and you're thinking, wow, this sounds like me. Maybe you've recognized one sign, or maybe all of them resonate with you. Either way, congratulations. You might just be part of that special 1% of people who are seers. But now you might be wondering, what do I do with this information? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's talk about some simple steps you can take to embrace and develop your seer abilities. First things first, take a deep breath. Discovering that you're a seer can be exciting, but it can also be a little overwhelming. Remember, this is a gift. It's a part of who you are, and it's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, it's something to celebrate. You have a unique way of perceiving the world that can bring a lot of insight and help to your life and the lives of others. Here are some simple steps you can take to start embracing your seer abilities. Pay attention. The first step is simply to start noticing when your abilities show up. Keep a journal and write down any experiences you have that might be related to your seer abilities. Did you feel a tingling sensation? Did you know something without knowing how? Did you pick up on someone's emotions? Write it all down. This will help you start to recognize patterns and understand how your abilities work. Trust yourself. This is a big one. It's easy to doubt yourself, especially when you're experiencing things that most people don't. But remember, your experiences are valid. If you feel something or know something, trust that feeling. Over time, as you see how accurate your intuitions are, this trust will grow naturally. Practice meditation. Meditation is like a gym for your seer abilities. It helps you quiet your mind and tune into your intuition. You don't need to meditate for hours. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. There are lots of free guided meditations online that can help you get started. Learn to ground yourself. As a seer, you might sometimes feel overwhelmed by all the energy and information you're picking up. Learning to ground yourself can help. A simple grounding exercise is to imagine roots growing from your feet deep into the earth. This can help you feel more stable and centered. Set boundaries. It's important to learn how to turn your abilities off when you need to. You don't want to be picking up on everyone's emotions all the time. That would be exhausting. Practice visualizing a protective bubble around yourself when you need some space. Educate yourself. There's a lot of information out there about psychic abilities and intuition. Read books, listen to podcasts, or take classes if you're interested. Just remember to use your own discernment. Not everything you read will resonate with you, and that's okay. Find your community. It can be really helpful to connect with other people who have similar experiences. Look for local meetup groups or online forums where you can share your experiences and learn from others. 8. Use your gifts to help others. As you become more comfortable with your abilities, you might find ways to use them to help people. Maybe you can offer intuitive guidance to friends or use your empathic abilities to be a better listener. Just remember to always respect others' boundaries and privacy. Stay grounded in the physical world. While it's exciting to explore your seer abilities, it's important to stay connected to the physical world too. Make sure you're taking care of your body, maintaining your relationships, and handling your day-to-day responsibilities. Be patient with yourself. Developing your seer abilities is a journey, not a destination. Some days you might feel super intuitive, and other days you might feel like you can't pick up on anything. That's totally normal. Be patient and kind with yourself as you learn and grow. Remember, being a seer doesn't mean you have to change your whole life or start wearing crystal necklaces, unless you want to, of course. You can be a seer and still be a teacher, a doctor, a parent, or whatever else you want to be. These abilities are just another part of who you are, another tool you can use to navigate life. As you start to embrace your seer abilities, you might find that your life changes in subtle but powerful ways. You might make decisions more confidently, understand people more deeply, or find a greater sense of purpose and connection to the world around you. You might also face some challenges, like feeling overwhelmed by energy or struggling to explain your experiences to others who don't understand. But here's the amazing thing. As you learn to work with your abilities, you'll likely find that the benefits far outweigh any challenges. You have a unique gift that allows you to perceive the world in a special way. You can use this gift to bring more understanding, compassion, and insight into your life and the lives of those around you. So, if you think you might be a seer, embrace it. Explore your abilities with an open mind and a sense of curiosity. Trust yourself, be patient with your journey, and remember that you're not alone. There's a whole community of people out there who share similar experiences and who can support you along the way. Your journey as a seer is just beginning, and it's going to be an amazing adventure. So take that first step. Start paying attention to your experiences, trust your intuition, and see where this gift takes you. You might just be surprised at the incredible things you're capable of. The unseen connection, your body's subtle energy signals. Now, let's talk about the next fascinating sign that you might be a seer. Have you ever felt a sudden warmth or coolness in your hands or feet, even when the temperature around you hasn't changed? Or maybe you've experienced a tingling sensation running up and down your spine for no apparent reason. If so, you might be experiencing what many seers call energy sensitivity. Energy sensitivity is all about your body's ability to detect and respond to subtle energies that most people can't perceive. It's like having an extra sense that picks up on the invisible currents flowing around and through us all the time. This might sound a bit out there, but stick with me. It's actually a really interesting and useful ability to have. Here are some common ways energy sensitivity might show up in your life. Temperature changes. You might feel sudden hot or cold spots on your body, especially in your hands, feet, or the back of your neck. Tingling sensations. You might experience a pins and needles feeling, particularly in your palms, soles of your feet, or along your spine. Pressure. You might feel a sense of pressure or heaviness in certain parts of your body, often in your chest or head. Vibrations. Some people describe feeling subtle vibrations, almost like a low-level electric current running through their body. Let me give you an example of how this might work in real life. Imagine you're meeting someone new for the first time. As you shake hands, you suddenly feel a warm tingling in your palm. This could be your energy sensitivity picking up on that person's energy. Maybe they're a particularly warm and friendly person, or perhaps there's someone who will become important in your life. Or here's another scenario. You walk into a room where people have been arguing, even though the argument is over now. You might suddenly feel a heaviness in your chest or a pressure in your head. This could be your body picking up on the residual negative energy in the room. Now, you might be thinking, but how do I know if this is really energy sensitivity and not just my imagination? That's a great question. Here are a few ways to tell. Consistency. These sensations often happen in similar situations or around certain people. Intuitive knowledge. Often, these physical sensations come with a sense of knowing. You might feel a tingling and suddenly understand something about a situation or person. Accuracy. Over time, you might notice that these sensations often correspond with actual events or prove to be accurate insights. Intensity. These sensations are often more intense or noticeable than regular bodily sensations. If you think you might have energy sensitivity, that's really exciting. This ability can be incredibly useful in many areas of life. It can help you understand people better, navigate social situations more easily, and even make decisions about your environment. But like any ability, it takes practice to use it effectively. Here are some tips for developing your energy sensitivity. Pay attention to your body. Start noticing these subtle sensations. When do they happen? What do they feel like? Trust your feelings. If you get a strong sensation about a person or place, trust it. Your body might be picking up on something your conscious mind hasn't noticed yet. Practice energy awareness. Try this simple exercise. Rub your hands together quickly for about 30 seconds, then slowly pull them apart. Can you feel the energy between your palms? Spend time in nature. Many people find that their energy sensitivity is stronger in natural settings. Take walks in the park or spend time in your garden. Learn about energy work. There are many traditions and practices that work with subtle energies, like Reiki or Qigong. Learning about these can help you understand and develop your own sensitivity. Remember, having energy sensitivity doesn't mean you'll always be right about everything, or that you should ignore your logical mind. It's just another way of gathering information about the world around you. The key is learning to balance your energy sensitivity with practical, logical thinking. As you become more aware of your energy sensitivity, you might find that it becomes stronger and more reliable. You might start to trust your gut feelings more in daily life, leading to better decision-making and a deeper understanding of the people and places around you. But remember, this is a journey. It takes time to fully understand and trust these abilities. Be patient with yourself and stay open to the possibilities. Let's explore another intriguing sign that you might be a seer, the ability to see things that others can't. Now, before you start thinking about seeing ghosts or having dramatic visions, let me explain. This ability, often called clairvoyance or clear seeing, is usually much more subtle and down-to-earth than what you see in movies. Clairvoyance is all about perceiving visual information beyond what's physically present. It's like having an inner screen where images, symbols, or scenes can appear. These visual impressions often carry important messages or insights. Here are some ways clairvoyance might show up in your life. Mental images. You might see clear pictures in your mind's eye, almost like watching a movie in your head. Symbols. Sometimes, instead of clear images, you might see symbolic representations. For example, seeing a bridge might represent a connection or transition in your life. Auras. Some people with clairvoyant abilities can see colored energy fields around people, animals, or objects. Flashes of light. You might see sparkles, flashes, or colors in the corner of your eye, even when there's no physical source for them. Visions during meditation. When you close your eyes to meditate, you might see vivid scenes or images. Let me give you an example of how this might work in everyday life. Imagine you're trying to decide whether to take a new job. As you're thinking about it, you suddenly see a clear image in your mind of yourself looking happy and confident in a new office. This could be your clairvoyant ability giving you a glimpse of a potential future. Or here's another scenario. You're talking to a friend who's telling you about a problem they're having. Suddenly, you see a symbol in your mind. Let's say, a key. This might be a clue that the key to solving your friend's problem is something they've overlooked or haven't considered yet. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if what I'm seeing is clairvoyance and not just my imagination? That's a great question. Here are a few ways to tell. Spontaneity. Clairvoyant images often appear suddenly, without you consciously trying to create them. Clarity. These images are usually very clear and detailed, more so than regular daydreams or imaginings. Emotional impact. Clairvoyant visions often come with a strong feeling or sense of importance. Relevance. The images you see will usually be relevant to a question you've asked or a situation you're dealing with. If you think you might have clairvoyant abilities, that's really exciting. This can be an incredibly useful skill in many areas of life. It can help you gain insights into situations, make decisions, and even help others. But like any ability, it takes practice to use it effectively. Here are some tips for developing your clairvoyance. Practice visualization. Start by intentionally creating images in your mind. The more you work with your mind's eye, the easier it becomes to receive spontaneous images. Pay attention to your dreams. Sometimes, clairvoyant information comes through in dreams. Keep a dream journal and look for patterns or symbols that repeat. Try scrying. This is an ancient technique of gazing into a reflective surface like water or a mirror. As you gaze, notice any images that seem to appear. Meditate regularly. Meditation can help quiet your mind and make it easier to receive visual impressions. Trust what you see. When you get a visual impression, don't dismiss it. Write it down and see if it turns out to be meaningful. Remember, having clairvoyant abilities doesn't mean you'll be seeing dramatic visions all the time. For most people, it's a much more subtle experience. The key is learning to notice and interpret these visual impressions when they do occur. As you become more aware of your clairvoyant abilities, you might find that they become clearer and more frequent. You might start to receive helpful visual insights in your daily life, leading to better decision-making and a deeper understanding of situations. But remember, this is a journey. It takes time to fully understand and trust these abilities. Be patient with yourself and stay open to the possibilities. We've covered a lot of ground in exploring the signs that you might be a seer. From the tingling sensations in your body to the ability to feel others' emotions, from the third eye activation to hearing inner guidance, from knowing things without knowing how to seeing beyond the physical. These are all fascinating aspects of being a seer. If you've recognized some or all of these signs in yourself, congratulations. You're part of a special group of people with heightened sensitivity and perception. But remember, being a seer isn't about having supernatural powers or being better than others. It's about having a unique way of experiencing and interacting with the world around you. As you continue on your journey as a seer, here are some key things to keep in mind. Trust yourself. Your experiences and perceptions are valid, even if others don't understand them. Practice and develop your abilities. Like any skill, your seer abilities can be strengthened with practice and attention. Stay grounded. While exploring your intuitive side is exciting, it's important to stay connected to the physical world too. Use your gifts responsibly. Your abilities can be a great tool for helping yourself and others, but always respect others' privacy and free will. Seek balance. Integrate your intuitive insights with logical thinking for the best results. Be patient. Developing and understanding your abilities is a lifelong journey. Enjoy the process. Connect with others. Finding a community of like-minded individuals can provide support and opportunities for growth. Remember, being a seer is not about escaping reality or living in a fantasy world. It's about perceiving the deeper layers of reality that many people overlook. Your sensitivity and intuition can be powerful tools for navigating life, making decisions, and understanding yourself and others on a deeper level. As you embrace your seer abilities, you may find that your life becomes richer and more meaningful. You might develop a deeper sense of connection to the world around you, gain insights that help you make better choices, and even find ways to use your gifts to help others. But most importantly, remember that being a seer is just one aspect of who you are. It doesn't define you completely, and it doesn't mean you have to change everything about your life. You can be a seer and still be a teacher, a parent, a scientist, an artist, or whatever else you want to be. Your seer abilities are a gift, a tool to enhance your life and the lives of those around you. So, as you move forward, stay curious, stay open, and stay true to yourself. Your journey as a seer is just beginning, and it promises to be an exciting and transformative adventure. Embrace your unique gifts, trust your intuition, and see where this fascinating journey takes you. The world needs more people who can see beyond the surface, who can feel deeply, and who can bring more understanding and compassion into the world. As a seer, you have the potential to do just that. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the signs of being a seer. Remember, whether you resonate with one sign or all of them, your experiences are valid and valuable. Trust yourself, embrace your journey, and know that you have something truly special to offer the world. Here's to your continued growth and discovery as a seer.